Shalom. Before I begin this lesson, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Ha Kodash, and double honors to the elders at Great Millstone, and Shalom Wa Barakathum to the elect of the nation of Israel. And in this video, I want to make a few compare one of our forefathers, Joseph, to an Israelite foreigner, or someone acting like a heathen of another nation. All right, make a few points in this video. So I'll start with Genesis 42 and verse 7. And Joseph saw his brethren, and he knew them, but made himself strange unto them. Now, at this time, there was a famine in the land of Canaan. So the Israelites, or some of the tribes, I know Benjamin stayed behind, but most of the tribes went down into Egypt at this time. Now I know that Manasseh and Ephraim, they were born in the land of Egypt. They were born in the land of Egypt, so they were already in Egypt. And that was two of Joseph's sons, right? And Joseph saw his brethren, and he knew them, meaning he recognized who they were, right? But made himself strange unto them, so they couldn't recognize who the hell he was. Now, I'm gonna also grab a commentary in this video. Now, Joseph was second in command under Pharaoh in Egypt. Whatever that Pharaoh was in Egypt at that time, I gotta look more into the history. I don't know if it was Ramses II or whatever Pharaoh was, but he was made second in command. Because you have to remember, the tribes did sell Joseph to the Midianites, and I believe the Midianites, which are Arabs, sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites, which are also Arabs. So it says here, so that's why he was and they sold him to the Egyptians. But it says here, but made himself strange unto them, and spake roughly unto them. Or it said here, Joseph recognized his brothers instantly, but he pretended to be a stranger and spoke harshly to them. Now Joseph spoke the Egyptian tongue. All right, that's what he spoke. He learned the Egyptian language, the Egyptian custom, or whatever culture they followed, right? And it said he made himself strange, right? Now that word strange is the Hebrew word is nakar. That's exactly how you spell it also. Here in the blue letter, they got it right. Well, this time they got it right. Nakar, or Nakarya Wath, or Nakarya. Which you could apply Nakar, the word Nakar, to a heathen. But not all the time. Not all the time. There's certain times that you can apply the word Nakar to an Israelite. And you can find that written in Jeremiah, the 2nd chapter, where Israelites started following the heathens. So they were called, well, Nakar can mean, my bad, I'm jumping the gun here. Can mean to be foreign, to be like a foreigner, right? Or Nakarya, to be to act like a foreigner. And the Israelites were acting like heathens. All right. But you can look into that more, all right? But let me move on. But made himself strange unto them, so he acted like he was acting like he didn't know who his brothers were, like, because the way he was dressed, he looked like an Egyptian. And Joseph, if you read, I believe that's Genesis 40 or 41, one of those chapters, it says that Joseph, when he came out of prison, he shaved his face. He was shaven. All right, because the custom of the Egyptians was to shave your facial hairs. That's why you see so many Jakes and so many Americans with shaved faces, or they don't have beards and they don't have no hair on their head, is because that goes back to the Egyptians. That's why you see like a man like no light polite. That's why you see him like he's like bald headed and he doesn't have no facial hairs, because he believes, or he thinks, he's an Egyptian. He's an Egyptian. But it says here in Genesis 42 and 7, continuing on, and Joseph saw his brethren, and he knew them, but he made himself strange unto them, and spake roughly unto them. And he said unto them, Whence come ye? And they said, From the land of Canaan, to buy food. And Joseph knew his brethren, but they knew him not. Now, when you jump to verse 20, I'll start at verse 21, and I'll read in the NOT. Speaking among themselves, they said, Clearly we are being punished because of what we did to Joseph long ago. Right? They sold him to the Arabs. We saw his anguish when he pleaded for his life, but we wouldn't listen. That's why we are in this trouble. Yeah, what comes around goes around, right? Like the saying goes in the world, what comes around goes around, karma. Didn't I tell you not to sin against the boy? Reuben asked, but you wouldn't listen, right? And the account, where's that account at? That's also in Genesis, the account when they sold him. This must have been like maybe like 20 years apart. That's what scholars say. It must have been like 20 years apart from the time that they sold Joseph to the Midianites or to the Ishmaelites. And yeah, something like that. Reuben asked, but you wouldn't listen, and now we have to answer for his blood. Of course, they didn't know that Joseph understood them. See, well, let me finish reading this. Of course, they didn't know that Joseph understood them, for he had been speaking to them through an interpreter. Now, some say the interpreter was Manasseh. Maybe Joseph told Manasseh, speak to them in Hebrew, because that's the language that the tribe spoke. And it wasn't Yiddish, because Yiddish was just came around 900, 700, 800, 900. I say around that, like 7, 8, give or take or whatever, like 700, 800, 900 AD. Okay, this was the Paleo Hebrew that they spoke. Now, I got a nice little commentary here I want to show you, brothers. Okay, I'm gonna grab a few. I want to grab the gills. The gills. All right, the gills. Actually, I thought I had another one. Okay, Cambridge, Bible for schools and colleges. All right, let me get the gills. It says here, and they knew not that Joseph understood them. For what is above related, they spoke in his presence and hearing, but speaking to one another in the Hebrew language. Like I said, the Yiddish language was not around at this time, so there was no such thing as Yiddish. So get that shit out of your mind. And these Amalekites, you got like Quas Brown, what's that guy's name? The guy that debated Al-Azhar from the Sakari. He says that the language that we speak is not the real language. It is the real language, because in the Hebrew there's no J's, there's no E's, there's no O's, there's no V's. There's no V's. I believe the V goes back to the Wa character in the Hebrew, in the Paleo Hebrew, Wa, not V. It doesn't, there's no language in the Hebrew, no character in the Hebrew that sounds like a V or J. So it says here, and he being an Egyptian, as they took him to be, right, because he learned the custom of the Egyptians. He spoke the Egyptian tongue, the language. As they took him to be, they did not imagine that he could understand them, and therefore were not at all upon their guard in what they said, and what confirmed them in this was, for he spake unto them by an interpreter. Like I said, did I mention that earlier? But some scholars believe that was Manasseh, right? I did mention that earlier. Some scholars believe that was Manasseh or Ephraim that spoke to the rest of the tribes or the other tribes. in the Hebrew tongue. Because he was playing stupid. He was acting strange, like he ain't know nothing, like I'm an Egyptian. But that's, see, our people, this, for an example, I want to bring out this point. Like, you'll have like Israelites that might talk like an Edomite, that walk like Edomites, that dress like Edomites, but are Israelites. And Joseph, he fit the description of an Egyptian. You wouldn't take him for an Israelite. You look at him, you're like, that's not an Israelite. And this is how you know. You have to learn how to discern spirits. You have to learn how to discern character and try the spirits. The scriptures tell us to try the spirits. Try the spirits by the Spirit. Okay, don't just shun someone away because you don't think that they're Israelites because they look like an Edomite. Right? So Joseph was playing stupid. Okay, but he's an Israelite. He understood what the hell we were talking about because he spoke the Hebrew tongue. In Egypt at that time, they spoke the Hebrew language, but they also spoke another language, or whatever other language it was. And the reason we can prove that is because, well, the Hebrew was always around, but even amongst these other nations, is because when you go to Genesis chapter 11, it says that the whole world was of one language, of one speech, and that speech was the Hebrew. Way before cuneiform, that was created around 3500 BC, way before the hieroglyphs, way before any language, any symbol or character or whatever it was, the Hebrew was around. It was oral back then. And that's what some of y'all people don't understand. You're looking for written documents. We predate all them written documents. It was orally. The laws were given to Adam orally. The Israelites predate all that. That's what we telling y'all. You know? That's what we telling y'all. Like, Jacob is the former of all things, and that's it. Face the facts. Those are facts. So it says here, for he spake unto them by an interpreter, which he the rather chose to do, that they might have no suspicion of him. So he's playing wise, right? And which shows that though there was a likeness between the Hebrew language and the Egyptian in many things, yet in some they differed. And the difference was such that there was need, that might be going off there, was need of an interpreter where the parties did not understand both languages. This interpreter between Joseph and his brethren, according to the Targum of Jonathan in Jerusalem, was Manasseh, the eldest son of Joseph. That's what they say. That's not necessarily true. It could have been Ephraim, or it could have been someone else. Most likely it was one of his sons, because that would give away Joseph, but I believe the Egyptians, the Mizraim, those people knew that Joseph was Jake. Just to keep it on the safe. So, right, and if you go to Genesis 46, it tells you, in Genesis 46, I'll start at verse 46. Genesis 46 and verse 3. I'll start at verse 3. And he said, I am God, the God of thy father. Fear not to go down into Egypt, for I will there make of thee a great nation. Right? I will go down with thee into Egypt, and I will also surely bring thee up again. And Joseph shall put his hand upon thine eyes. Now when you jump down, actually I could have just kept reading. All right. And verse 5, and Jacob rose up from Beersheba, and the sons of Israel carried Jacob their father and their little ones and their wives in the wagons which Pharaoh had sent to carry him. And they took their cattle and their goods which they had gotten in the land of Canaan, and came into Egypt, Jacob and all his seed with him, his sons and his sons' sons with him, his daughters and his sons' daughters, and all his seed brought he with him into Egypt. And these are the names of the children of Israel, which came into Egypt, Jacob and his sons Reuben, Jacob's firstborn. And the sons of Reuben, Hanak and Phalu and Hezron and Carmi. And the sons of Simeon, Jemuel and Jamin and Ohad and Jachin and Zoar and Shaul, the son of a Canaanitish woman. Yes, because Israelites were popping heathen women. But it clearly tells you that the sons of, it doesn't matter if he popped a Canaanite woman or a Hamite woman, it doesn't matter, or a woman of another nation, that does not mean nothing. That child or that son or that daughter is still an Israelite through her father or through his or her father's seed line. Well, through the father's seed line, that son and daughter are Israelites. And the sons of Levi, Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. And the sons of Judah, then it mentions and Onan, and Shelah, and Pharez, and Zerah. But and Onan died in the land of Canaan. And the sons of Pharez were Hezron and Hamul. Right, the Hamulites, where you get another sect of the tribe of Judah, the Hamulites. Then you have the Hezronites. Yahushua came out of the Hezronites. That sect of Israelites, or of Judites. And the sons of Issachar, Tola and Phuvah and Job and Simron. And the sons of Zebulun, Sered and Elon and Jaleel. These be the sons of Leah, which she bare unto Jacob in Padanaram, which was Syria, with his daughter Dinah. All the souls of his sons and his daughters were 33. And it says the sons of Gad, then it mentions the sons of Asher, then it mentions, and the sons of Rachel, Jacob's right. And the sons of Rachel, the sons of Jacob's wife Rachel were Joseph and Benjamin. And unto Joseph in the land of Egypt were born Manasseh and Ephraim. Did Joseph come with? I know that they went, I believe, 1 or 2 times down into Egypt. I gotta look back into it. No, I don't want to go off on in this video. But and the sons of Benjamin were Bela and Becher, right? Then it mentions the tribe of Benjamin, right? And the sons of Dan, then it mentions Naphtali. But it mentions here in verse 20, and unto Joseph in the land of Egypt were born Manasseh and Ephraim. So they were already down there, right? So I pray this video is edifying. Is there any other points I want to bring out? Yeah, there is. It talks about in Zephaniah 1 and 8. It talks about strange apparel, right? Zephaniah 1 and 8, it says, and it shall come to pass, and now read the NLT, right? On that day of judgment, says the Lord, Zephaniah 1 and 8. On that day of judgment, says the Lord, Yahweh, I will punish the leaders and princes of Judah, which the Lord will do, okay? During Jacob's trouble and the ICBMs, the Lord is going to kill many people, all right? Especially 2/3 of you Jakes or you Israelites. The Lord is going to kill a lot of you Jakes. And all those following pagan customs. Right here in the KJV it says, and all such as are clothed with strange apparel. Now that word strange is nakar, which means something foreign. Or nakarya, which means foreigner. Outlandish, alien, outlandish, adulterous. Different, meaning we were committing spiritual adultery by following other gods. All right, but Israelites always were into the customs of the heathen. Right? You have Israelites till this day that wear the attire of the Egyptians. They wear the attire of the Greco-Roman Empire. They wear like a suit and a tie. They dress like Edomites. Right, so with that, shalom.